Welcome to Egypt again. There's been a lot of change, but it took a while to come. And only this morning the PMI survey is out just a few minutes ago, and it's up to 50.5, up to just a little from 50.3. And for the first time since the survey began, we've got employment growth. So it's taken time. Now, what's happened is there's been infrastructure spending, government spending, but not private sector investment, which has been held back by both economic conditions and very high inflation, and shocked 2 years ago by the effects of the devaluation. So the end result is the government has led the change. There's been major road building. There's some other major grand projects, of which there's some debate about the economic efficiency, but at last the system is moving. Now, that's not to say that right now, in the last week or two, there's been some pressure, the last few weeks, pressure from international markets in terms of the debt markets, which you might want to come on to. So there's been some selling of the debt. But internally within Egypt, things are beginning at last to return to some sort of normality.
Well, coming in from the airport, you can't miss these massive infrastructure developments, and you can't miss the signs all along the way, advertising for a new this and a new that, come here, buy, invest. But in terms of everyday Egyptians, you're saying it's finally starting to trickle down?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say trickle down. It's a no slightly benefiting companies, but for the average person, it's still tough. You have to remember the last few years, inflation has been very high. It was running at nearly 30% at one point in terms of food and vegetable prices. So the average person has been hurting from increased prices of fuel and water, general electricity too. So subsidies have been cut, and the end result is that the average person has been hit. It will take time to trickle down, and that's the problem. There's still pain on the street, pain from the effect of the devaluation and from high inflation. And the fact that it's only now we're beginning to see, probably for the first time since 2011, job growth.
And talk me through a little bit. A little later in the show, we're going to talk more about President Sisi's recent trip to China and certainly what's happening in terms of the foreign investment scenario.